Good morning. Good morning. It is the end of another week, the day after Christmas. I hope everybody is doing well. I want to apologize for anyone who's trying to click on the link. I don't know what happened, but when I tried to go live from the link, it didn't allow me. So I just thought I'd try to jump on a few minutes early and send out the link that I'm actually on live, and so that hopefully you will find me this way. But if it's not, it's cool. These things, they happen. So it was kind of late, because I'm going to be honest. I wasn't going to do a show today. I was going to just, show an old, show from last year, early this year, or something like that. But I wanted to, late last night, I was up working. My cousin Kamika tells me I'm an overachiever. But I was up working and thinking about everything that I'm going through. And really what happened was, this has been a challenging holiday season for me. It's really been December's been a challenging month for me. I'm not gonna lie. Not just, I miss my parents and everything like that, but just the challenge as far as I really feel like there's been a lot of emotional stuff going on, a lot of disappointment with me on some of my projects and things like that. I'm going to get into that. But me not doing a show, I could have made excuses. I could say, oh, I'm going to sleep in late, but me not doing it would have been an excuse. And I'm also one of those people that I think there's always a deeper meaning to everything. When things happen, why is it happening? What is the universe? What is this situation? What is the divine? I call him Jesus. You can call him whoever. But what is this situation happening, and what is it teaching me? And I realized then that this is a good opportunity to talk about that. So the name of this Chill Spot Chat today is When the Calendar Flips, Navigating Grief in the Quiet After the Holidays. So let's dive in. Hello, everyone, and thank you for being with me today. I want to talk about something that's been really sitting heavy on my heart, and maybe it's sitting heavy on yours too. The holidays are over, and the march toward the new year has officially begun. And yet, for some of us, the emotional weight didn't magically lift when the calendar flipped. There's pressure to feel renewed, motivated, excited, but sometimes the quiet after the holidays makes everything feel louder. The grief, the memories, the empty spaces, they all seem to echo a little more. I've been feeling that. I've been moving forward in my grief journey. I know I have. But there are some days it still hits so hard, I feel like I can't breathe. And I want to say this out loud because maybe you felt it too. Just because you've grown through various stages of grief doesn't mean the pain disappears. Grief doesn't follow seasons. It doesn't care about dates or resolutions. It comes in waves. And some waves knock you down even when you thought you were standing strong. And that doesn't mean you're failing. It doesn't mean you're going backwards. It just means you're human and you love someone very deeply. So a lot of times when we are experiencing grief and you feel like I should be, and this is one of those things I hate, well, you should be past it. You should be over it. Grief doesn't have a timetable. Grief doesn't say, oh, well, it's December 26th and you should feel this way. It's been 10 years. It's been this. It doesn't happen that way. It would be nice if grief had a timetable. And I've said before, grief is more than just the loss of someone. There's the grief of there's a grief of losing a marriage. There's grief of losing a job. So many people are losing jobs and their livelihoods have changed. They had plans for retirement, but because of various factors, that doesn't seem attainable anymore. So when we talk about grief, It's very easy to focus on losing someone, but I also want to make sure the people who are experiencing loss of job, relocation, everything. Oh, good morning, mommy. Thank you for joining me today, and thank you for finding me. I'm glad you could find me. But there's so much other things that people can grieve, and there's so many other things that we have an emotional connection to, that when we lose that connection, it's a grief process. So I just wanted to say that grief isn't just about death. It's the death of a dream. It's the death of a hope. It's the death of anticipation, of plans that can rattle you. And this time of year can be especially tender. The world is shouting, new year, new me, new year, new you. But inside, you still may be carrying the aches that you had in December or last year or the year before that. And that's okay. There's no timetable for healing. There is no finish line that you're supposed to cross. And that's why dealing with our grief, our hurt, our disappointment, all of it is so important, because we're not supposed to get over it, but because we deserve to move forward without dragging that same weight into another year. Repeat that. Not because you're supposed to get over it, but because you deserve to move forward without dragging that failed relationship, that failed job, that loved one, that everything that's going. You deserve not to drag it into another year. We're not leaving our loved ones behind. We're simply making space for the pain so that it doesn't swallow us whole. One of the things I've learned through my grief journey, and I've appreciated people like Regina King and Lauren, I can't think of her name, who lost Nipsey Hussle. I've had the opportunity to just sit and listen and talk to their grief, and how they've dealt with it. And one of the things that they really emphasize is you have to make space for that pain. Grief doesn't just go away. Oh, I'm over it now. No, it comes, and I'm gonna get into that, because you have to make space for that pain. You have to honor that person, that situation, that thing meant something to you, and losing it has rattled you in some way. And I know people, and I tried. I love that song. I tried to drink it away, because one of the things that we do when we feel a lot of pain, a lot of pressure, is we try to do everything else to mask it. We jump in relationships. We go spend money. We go eat food. We do things to anything, because when we have to deal with that pain, it becomes so much, and then we just look for other ways to deal with it. But if we can learn how to make space for it, because it becomes an occasional, because grief is a visitor, and I'm going to get into that, but we have to just like you have a room in your house that if somebody came to stay with you, they could stay, but it's not meant forever. It's the same way it has to be for grief. You got to make space for it. So we're not leaving our loved ones behind. We're simply making space for the pain so it doesn't swallow us whole. And I want to be honest about something else. For me, the grind of disappointment has added to my grief. The lack of participation in some of my workshops, my activities, not feeling like I'm reaching the people in the way I want to, has made me question whether or not what I'm doing even matters. And I know I'm not the only small business owner, entrepreneur who's felt that way. When you're grieving, those moments hit differently. They add to the ache. That makes the quiet of after the holidays even louder. They make you wonder if your purpose is still your purpose. Lord knows, I'm an overachiever, like my cousin Mika says, but it's not because I want to overachieve. I know my desire to help and share comes from, I know I cannot possibly be the only person in the world that deals with the things I'm dealing with. We know for a fact that there's so many hurting people in the world. All you got to do is turn on the news. People are killing people and robbing and stealing. And that doesn't, some of that you might think, well, comes from necessity, but a lot of that just comes from brokenness. People are unhealed and unwhole, and they make unhealed, unwhole decisions. I know I have. I've jumped into a lot of things that I had no business jumping into because I was unhealed. I was unwhole. So to add to that, and so when you add to the ache of disappointment, like, is my purpose still a purpose? Am I really making a difference? Is anybody listening? Does anybody really resonate with what I'm saying? Or am I just talking to myself? That ache hits differently when you wonder if your purpose is still your purpose. It's if you question whether or not what you're doing is even effective. And again, I know I ain't the only one. I might be talking about my business, but I know that there's people who feel that way about their children. And what I'm doing making a difference? They feel that way about their jobs, their careers, their marriage. We all sometime at point go, does what I'm doing even matter? But here's what I am learning. There is purpose in pain. Not the kind that makes the loss okay. Nothing does that. But the kind that reminds us how deeply we loved, how deeply we cared, and how much we're still trying even when it hurts. Grief is just love with nowhere to go. It's holding space for people who shaped us, the memories that still matter, and the parts of our hearts that will never be the same. And grief, it's a visitor. It shows up when it wants to. Sometimes unexpected, sometimes expected, sometimes out of nowhere. Some days it knocks softly, and some days it kicks the door in. But it doesn't stay forever. It comes, it goes. And every time it leaves, we learn a little bit more about ourselves. We learn how strong we are, how human we are, how much capacity we have to keep going, even when it hurts. So if grief is visiting you right now, in this quiet stretch between Christmas and the New Year, you're not doing anything wrong. You're not behind. You're not weak. You're feeling something very real, something that deserves to be felt. And before we end, I do want to invite you to take a slow breath with me. Just one. Let's go in and out. A reminder that you're still here. You're still becoming. And you're allowed to take up space, even in the in-between. And as you move through the rest of your day, carry these words with you. I'm allowed to be in the in-between and still growing. I honor my grief, my frustration, my pain, my sorrow. But I am not defined by it. I am moving forward, even on the days I don't feel like it. Let these words meet you where you are. Let them soften the edges a little. And remember, you don't have to rush your healing. You don't have to pretend that the weight isn't there. You're allowed to be human. You are allowed to take your time, and you are allowed to feel what you feel. Thank you for taking the time to be with me today. And if this is a heavy season for you, I'm sending you a little extra gentleness for the journey. Jump in the chat and let me know what you think about, I don't remember the title, when the calendar flips, now navigating the grief after the holidays. It is that in between. And I'm going to say this, I talk about it a lot, but it is what it is. I was talking to my cousin Kamika yesterday, and I'm trying to, well, let me just back all the way up. It's a rough season. This time of year usually is a trying time for me because my parents' anniversary is on Christmas. And then this time of year, 10 years ago, and then 3 years ago, my parents began their transition. They both died in January, like a week apart from each other. And it may seem like, oh, she's just preparing for the grief. No, it's my body, and I don't know if anybody else feels this way. My body remembers oftentimes what my mind forgets. I begin to feel it in my body. I begin to feel the tension. I begin to feel it. I'm not even thinking about it. I've thought, well, I'll move on. And, every day gets a little, I didn't cry on mom and daddy's birthday. I didn't, I wasn't, so when these feelings began to come, I was very, very confused by it. But I also know that when these feelings come, that this is my divine, this is my spirit telling me that there's some unfinished work. And sometimes that's the hardest part is you're like, well, God, how much more is there to squeeze out of me? But I know this pain has purpose. And that's why I share, because I know I'm not the only one. And so when this pain comes, when the disappointment comes, when the hurt comes, when the grief comes, look at it as a visitor that's coming to stay. Honor it. Learn something from its visit, and then send it on its way. Because it's going to come back. That's why you hold space for it. But each time it comes, the visit gets shorter and shorter. And sometimes in the midst of that grief, there can be some sweetness there. The sweet memories of thinking about the time I've spent with those who I love and have gone on before me. Those are sweet memories. So anyway, just want to share that. So today's love notes are for two amazing women, for Angela Pearson and Samantha Keeling. They're former co-workers, but forever friends. When I tell you I love them, they are amazing people. Because what I love about real people, real friendships, when you have real connections with people, sometimes you talk to them every day, but then sometimes you don't. You may go 2 or 3 months and you may not talk to them, but that does not change the feeling. It doesn't change the sisterhood. It doesn't change the connection. And that's where I'm tremendously blessed with Amanda and Angela. I said Angela. Did I say Angela and Samantha? Who did I just say? Angela and Samantha, because they're former co-workers but forever friends. And I pray that people have forever friends in your life. I'm very blessed. And so my reading today actually comes from my book. This is my office copy, but this is my latest book, Blessings Come Through Battles, When the Blessing Isn't Obvious. Again, what I love about my books are these are books for the journey. Whatever part of your journey in your life you're on, I have 6 books. I got 7 now, and I'm finishing my 8th. They're companions for the journey. They're to help you navigate different seasons of your life. They're small books, but the whole point is these are things that you can pick up, read, and resonate with. So, and I will put the link in there this time, but this one is from chapter 10, The Strength to Keep Going. After the glimmer comes the choice to keep going, to keep healing, to keep honoring what is sacred, even when it's hard. This chapter is for the quiet warriors, the one who rise without recognition, the ones who set boundaries that feel like heartbreak and liberation all at once. If you ever whispered, I don't know how I'm still standing, this is your reminder. You're standing. And that is holy. Because endurance is a spiritual gift. Endurance is not just survival. It's sacred. It's the spiritual gift that says, I'm still here. Not because it's easy, not because it's glamorous, because your soul knows this journey is worth it. Endurance is the quiet decision to keep healing, to keep choosing peace, to keep honoring your truth, even when no one else is watching. It's not flashy, but it's holy. It's what carries you through when motivation fades. Endurance is the altar when your ache becomes your offering. And this is last time. It's naming your resilience. You've been resilient in ways you haven't named. Every time you got out of bed when grief weighed heavy, that was resilience. Every time you set a boundary that felt terrifying, that was resilience. Every time you chose to rest instead of proving, that was resilience. You don't have to wait for someone else to validate your strength. You name it. You can honor it. You can celebrate it. Because your resilience isn't just a reaction, it's revelation. And it deserves to be seen. Blessings come through battles because they do. It's 7:25 and I want to thank you for joining me today. I hope you can find me, but whether you watch me now or you watch me later, let this be a reminder that in this in-between, you are still whole. You are still working. You are still all that, whichever finger it is to clap. You are still moving forward. Take your time. Acknowledge your pain. Hold space for it. And let's move forward together. Because even in this, my brothers and sisters, even in this, God is an ever-present help to whomever you pray. And he, she, them, it is going to help you get through. Rest and keep going. Hope everybody has a great Friday. I hope you have a great weekend. I'll see y'all next time.